Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. No one's ever going to say that first part. That's too long of a title for a movie like this. Hi, I'd like to buy a ticket for Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. By the way, I don't even have money to buy this ticket with, but can I see this extensively long title of a movie? Now let's talk about the plot to this movie, and it's going to sound like I'm making a joke, but I'm not. This is seriously the plot to this movie. So here it goes. A cybernetically enhanced villain wants to cleanse all of humanity with a virus called the Snowflake. The unlikely muscle-bound duo of Hobbs and Shaw must team up to say witty one-liners and punch people in the face. Hobbs and Shaw is a spin-off movie from the Fast and Furious franchise because clearly that overly long title was telling you that on the movie poster, and I actually enjoyed this movie a lot more than Fast and Furious 6, 7, and 8, and probably 4 and 2. I sort of always enjoyed Tokyo Drift for what it was. I know, don't judge me. The foundation of this movie is a buddy team-up movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham, and it's reminiscent to some of my favorite movies of all time from the 1980s and 1990s, like Tango and Cash.
Yuck. From the look of your diet, it's obvious you're not too interested in counting calories. Could it be that you're just too busy counting the money they paid you to set us up?
Except this movie takes itself even less serious than those movies did, and that's really making a statement. At times, this movie feels like a parody movie of an action film. The best way I can sum it up is Hobbs and Shaw makes Over the Top look like Schindler's List. I love this movie. Hobbs and Shaw is directed by the same guy who directed Deadpool 2 and shares that same action vibe and comedy style. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson plays Hobbs once again, a jacked up dude covered in baby oil who's one of the best trackers in existence, and he has to track down someone in this movie to save the day once again. And for me, The Rock is one of the last remaining action stars that actually look like action stars. We used to have Stallone, we had Arnold, and now we have The Rock, and I think we should all be grateful for that. I know I am. And then we have Jason Statham, who plays Shaw, who used to sort of be a terrorist in past movies, but hey, it's all cool now. That's a nice shirt you got on. What size is it? Spray on? That's a line he says in the movie. Jason Statham is a great action star as well. And in this movie, Jason Statham's character Shaw has a much more sophisticated, slick, smooth style compared to The Rock, who is this brooding force who just breaks down walls and holds helicopters with his arm and a chain, and it's just... I loved it. I loved every second of that. And I really enjoyed that contrast between both characters throughout this film. One of the best things about this film is the chemistry between The Rock and Jason Statham and their quippy one-liners and their banter. And I'm willing to assume a lot of things that they say throughout this movie was improv, and I hope so, because some of that felt like the most organic, best parts of the film. For example, there's a scene in this movie that takes place in Hawaii, and The Rock's looking at Jason Statham wearing a coat, and he's like, "It's 110 degrees out, what are you doing?" And so it just, little things like that is what really helped elevate this movie. And now, let's talk about the supervillain of this movie, played by Idris Elba. I say Idris, it's probably pronounced Idris, I can't do it. But as far as his character goes, this movie just says, fuck it, do whatever you want, I don't care. In this movie, he describes himself as the Black Superman, and other characters reference him as the Terminator. Every time he gets mad, his eyes turn yellow, and every time you get a POV shot, he sees everything like he is the Terminator. Oh, and one other thing, the motorcycle crotch rocket that his character rides around throughout this film, it transforms, but not only that, every time it does so, it makes the Transformer sound effect. Do you guys remember when the Fast and Furious films were about a group of street racers stealing VCRs out of the back of a semi? And now we have cybernetically enhanced supervillains who can do anything? What fucking happened? And as dumb and over the top as this supervillain is in this film, I'm glad that they got a quality actor to play the role, because if they just got some B-rate actor, you couldn't take anything that this guy does seriously. It would have just been hard to watch. But since it's Idris Elba, I know. Either way, I will say it wrong. I think when you have a quality actor playing this hokey character, well, you buy it just a little bit more. Hobbs and Shaw is a big dumb action movie where you could just eat some popcorn, maybe some Sour Patch Kids. It's up to you. Never eat Junior Mints. Ugh. And since this is an action movie, let's talk about some action scenes. I enjoyed most of them. They were well filmed. You could see what was happening. They didn't have that stupid shaky cam. And at one point, The Rock's character falls off of a skyscraper. and then just gets up. But hey, it's Hobbs and Shaw. Anything can happen. There's also some action scenes in this film that will kill your brain cells. You'll walk out of this movie 14% dumber than you went in. At one point, during the climax in the second act of the movie, there's this all-terrain vehicle that jumps through the window of this warehouse and lands on these two little pipes and keeps driving. And it looked like a PS2 video game cutscene from Twisted Metal or something. I don't know if it was intentionally supposed to look that bad, but it made me laugh. And it's around this time that this huge action climax showdown takes place, and you think the movie's over. The movie should have been over, but it's not over. The movie continues for another 30 minutes, and it sort of overstays its welcome. This movie's runtime is 2 hours and 15 minutes long. It doesn't need to be that long, and it shouldn't be that long. This movie should be an hour and 45 minutes. By the third act of this movie, your brain completely gives up and melts out of your ear into your popcorn bucket. There's cars that play a game like Barrel of Monkeys where they attach to each other. But on a positive note, this final third act gives you some backstory relating to The Rock's character. There's a few fun moments along the way, and it really has that family vibe that Vin Diesel tries to get across in all the Fast and Furious movies. Now here are my final flicking thoughts on Hobbs and Shaw. This movie was surprisingly entertaining, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It's self-aware, the action is fun, there's some great cameos throughout the movie which are hilarious, the comedy works, I like the witty one-liners from both characters, and the chemistry between Jason Statham and The Rock in this film was the best thing. And this is just one thing I was thinking when watching the movie. It's PG-13, but could you imagine if they made a movie like this rated R, how phenomenal it truly could be and how over the top it could really go? Imagine The Rock just ripping a guy's head off. I dream about things like that every night. I'm going to give Hobbs and Shaw, that's my people's elbow, a B-. Check it out if you're bored or you like big dumb action movies. And now here's my question for you. Let me know what you thought about this movie, or what is your favorite buddy cop team-up movie from the 1980s or the 1990s? Let me know those things down below. And before I go, I want to show you some awesome movie posters, and a big thanks to the sponsor of this video, Displate. If you like movie posters or just cool designs, Displate makes posters, but on metal. They're metal posters. Look at this. They're better than normal posters because they don't rip, they don't tear, and the best thing is you don't have to screw them onto the wall. They just stick onto the wall with a magnet like this right here. And since we just talked about Hobbs and Shaw, which is an over-the-top action movie, well, they have some awesome action movie posters like this right here, or this right here, you son of a bitch! You gotta love Predator. And this right here. Look at Stallone right there. Look at those pecs. Look at how much baby oil he has on. So yeah, I love retro 80s movie posters, so they have a ton of those on the website Displate. Put the link down below. And all three movie posters back there come from Displate as well, and if you guys want to save some money on your order at Displate.com, use the promo code TheFlickPick15 to save 15% off your entire order. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and check out my last video where I talked about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, so that's on my channel, link down below to that, and I'll see you guys next time.